You guys want to see something maybe a little bit dumb? Here, take a look at this. So I've recorded something with Broly here. It's a single recording, and I've set it to loop over and over and over again. It's just him air dashing over me and going for a jump M. Or is it? Wait, what happened? I got grabbed? Let's try that again. If I super dash? Oh, So what is going on here? Well, I'm not lying to you. This is a single recording set to loop over and over and over again. But this is more than just Broly air dashing and hitting jump M. Before I explain how this is happening, let's talk about why this is happening and why it's a big deal and where it will come up in actual matches. Obviously, Broly has command grabs, and they're really good command grabs. A lot of people use the medium one, but I wouldn't recommend it too often because this one is actually reactable. What you want to be using is the light command grab because this is definitely unreactable. And if you have meter available, especially if you are solo Broly and you're in limit break with the extra damage boost that you get with that, this is going to be a lot of damage. This is over half of someone's health if Broly is alone on a team with that damage boost. So obviously people need to guess with jump. People need to jump out of the command grabs, and when it's the light grab that he's using a lot of the time, you're going to have to actually guess because reacting isn't something you're going to do in time. I'm not calling you a liar if you say you can react to the light grab, but I'm just saying I don't believe you. I would love to be proven wrong, but it's not happening, especially online. So people want to jump over this command grab, right? And what a lot of people will do is they will guess with a jump into a super dash really fast. And they will be able to actually punish the command grab if they guessed right and jumped out of it at the right time. So yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. This is already a guess, right? This is already a guess because you don't know the grab is coming, but if it comes, you want to find some kind of a punish in order to beat it. So if you're fighting against Broly, I would definitely recommend doing this if you are trying to call out his command grabs. If you're going to take a risk, you might as well get rewarded for it if you're correct, right? So what I've done is set up two different recordings. One where he blocks, and this is happening 5 times as often as the other recording. And then I have one recording where the opponent is set to jump really quickly and do a super dash. And you'll see that most of the time, Yamcha is going to block, and once in a while, eventually he's going to jump and go for super dash, just like that. And if I had gone for a command grab in that situation, just like that, I would get hit. But what if we did what I showed you earlier? We could go for a cross up into jump M, and at some point, we'll get the grab when he jumps. That's pretty stupid. I'm gonna be honest, but it's also pretty cool. So let's go back to that magic recording we had before set on slot 1 here. And let's set this to just playback on repeat, so it'll go forever. One of the reasons that this is good is that when someone wants to challenge Broly, there's a few things they're going to do. They're going to jump to get away from a command grab. Maybe they'll mash. Maybe they'll anti-air. Maybe they'll reflect. And yeah, so this recording will beat jump. This recording will beat jump super dash. This recording might even be safe to some anti-airs. Although that depends on the timing, so I wouldn't count on that. Obviously, this is a very strong option, whether you know the magic behind it or not, because getting a cross-up into jump M is always good. It's a solid mix-up, and if they block it, you get to reset your turn. And this also beats a variety of other things, like if someone wanted to challenge us with reflects, this would beat that too. And depending on the character, this might even beat some reversals too, depending on whether you happen to go over it or not. All right, so what is actually happening here? Let's not beat around the issue anymore. What is happening to make this magic option actually work? All we're doing is doing instant air dash jump M, which is the normal cross up, except we're putting one small twist on it. We are doing instant air dash quarter circle back M. If you look at the bottom right of the screen, you can see that I am doing a quarter circle back after I do my instant air dash. And it's actually quarter circle back M that we're hitting, not just regular jump M. So if we're hitting quarter circle back M, how come we're not getting the grab every single time? Because isn't that the input for his air grab? Quarter circle back M is this air grab. Well, we can't actually get that move unless it's quarter circle back relative to our opponent's position, right? Because if we're on this side of the screen, it's not quarter circle back that way now, it's back this way, right? So it's all relative to our opponent's position on the screen. And once we get past our opponent, our quarter circle back is no longer a quarter circle back, it's a quarter circle forward. So does Broly have a quarter circle forward move in the air? And the answer is no, he does not. He does not have a quarter circle forward M at all. And when you try to get that, all you get is a regular jump M because there's no other move for him to get. So if we air dash over someone and do a quarter circle forward M towards them, we just get a regular jump M, which is perfectly fine. And if we don't pass them, then we will get our quarter circle back M, because we haven't turned around relative to our original position. So what would stop us from crossing over them at this situation? And the answer is if they blocked us and stopped us from doing that, right? So when the opponent jumps or does something that raises their hurt box up, raises them as like a barrier to stop us from passing them, that's going to prevent our input from changing from a quarter circle back to a quarter circle forward. So we will still get the air grab at that point. So again, let's turn on these two recordings. We have one where he blocks most of the time, another one where he does jump and super dash, and one more where he just jumps and doesn't do anything at all. And what I did is let's turn this on counterattack play recording. Most people don't actually do whatever this option is right away. Usually they delay their option by like a little bit. So let's just say, let's delay it by 5 frames here. The reason for that is that if you jumped at the very first moment that you had a break where you were worried about a command grab, you would get hit by every single frame trap. Let's actually turn off this counterattack delay and you'll see what I mean. And this is what it would look like if someone did a jump or tried to challenge immediately when they thought a command grab was coming, instead of delaying it a little bit like most of the pros do. So they'll still jump, right? They'll still jump if I go for the command grab, but they'll get hit by every single frame trap that Broly does, right? So if you're jumping right away, then every regularly timed frame trap is going to hit you. This is just a regular reversal jump. But if we delay this option by 5 frames or however long, just a little bit, doesn't need to be precise. Now, when I go for my frame traps, you'll see that he hasn't quite jumped yet. He delayed it just long enough that he didn't commit to it till after he blocked the frame trap. If that's too confusing, then don't really worry about it. Just understand that I set a delay on when the recording plays, because this is how most people at a high level are going to actually jump to get away from command grabs. And that's the practical situation that we're trying to beat. So that's what we're going to practice against and make sure that our option beats that. We're trying to proof of concept something cool here. So again, let's turn on our recordings here. He's going to block most of the time, jump and super dash sometimes, and jump regularly sometimes. And let's set this to playback at random, and it will play back the counterattack setting on block. Admittedly, I'm not the best at doing instant air dash forward, quarter circle back really, really fast, but this is something we can improve at over time. And when it works, level 3 happens, good damage, roughly half of someone's health, more than half their health if Broly is either in sparking or by himself. Yeah, this is just generally a really good option. And this is a option select. So if you're either new to fighting games or you've been playing them for a long time, but you've never really learned what an option select is, this is an example of an option select. It's some series of inputs that will give you a different option depending on different circumstances, right? So when he jumps, we get the grab, and when he stays on the ground and we pass over him, we get the jump medium. It is selecting the correct option depending on the circumstances. This doesn't mean that it beats everything. It just means that it does one thing in a certain situation and it does a different thing in a different situation. That's really all an option select is. They don't all look like this, but this is an example of one that is pretty similar to what's available in most fighting games somewhere. Anytime a character has an option that only works in one direction, but doesn't work in the other direction, meaning like he has a quarter circle back in the air, but he doesn't have a quarter circle forward, or something similar. Anytime something like that exists, I'm sure there's some sort of option select you could find with it. Although usually they're not super practical, sometimes they are. And this is just one example of one that might be. Speaking of option selects like this, where one direction you get a thing, in a different direction you get a different thing, or no thing at all, here's something else we can do with it. So I have this recording where Broly will just do instant air dash, jump M. This is a pretty standard mix-up in the corner. You'd probably use some kind of an assist to lock the opponent down, and instant air dash and go for your overhead really fast. And if they block it, then you're plus, and it's your turn again, right? Definitely a reactable mix-up, but it's something we've probably all gotten hit by at some point. But you know what you could do is you can actually walk under these mix-ups on reaction. I have a video that goes more in depth on this if you want to know more about it. It's called Escape the Corner with this simple trick or something like that. But the gist of it is that you can react to an instant air dash, assuming you aren't busy being locked down by an assist, by walking under the opponent. And this is really strong. You see this occasionally at a really high level, but most players don't do this yet. But you know something we could do that would stop this kind of thing from being an option? I have a different recording that's the same loop over and over and over again. And when I try to walk out and jab, now I get level 3'd immediately. It's just the same loop over and over again. I swear this isn't, you know, how many do we want to block before we decide to walk out? Maybe 9? And we get level 3'd. It's still looping, by the way. It's trying to loop during the level 3. Obviously, this is a super risky option. Let's just pretend this is Magic again, where it's just 2 options. We know in situation A, when they stay in the corner, Broly is going to do his regular instant air dash mix-up. And if they walk out, then he gets level 3. Let's take away all the difficulty and understanding of why it's happening. Let's just think about the fact that it is happening. This is pretty bad. This is not the best option because we could just walk out and block, and now he wasted 3 bars and we get a full punish. And, you know, whatever combo we want. Goku's cool, miss this character. Alright. So, not as practical of an option select in my opinion, but it could be useful. It could be useful at some point, and it at least demonstrates that this sort of thing isn't specific only to one situation. It's going to be available in a variety of situations. It's just more or less practical depending on which one it is. So what's happening in this situation is I'm doing instant air dash ML, but the twist is instead of it just being ML, it's M quarter circle forward L plus M. We can't get 2 M's in a row as a block string. That's not something that our character can do, so we don't have to worry about that. So if we try to hit M and then cancel it into Dragon Rush, that's also something we can't do. So the only input left that it can work with is the L that we hit. So we hit M and then we canceled it into M and L together. Normally would be Dragon Rush. That's not an option, so it just cancels into an L, just like that. And if we combine this with a quarter circle forward L plus M, like that, if you look at the bottom right of the screen, we still get the L here because Broly, again, doesn't have an air quarter circle forward to L or M or any sort of input that would take up this input. But you know what he does have? He does have a quarter circle back L plus M when he's on the ground. And you know when he's going to be on the ground is when the opponent walks under us and our M misses altogether. We can kind of fake this mid-screen. If we do it mid-screen like this, you'll see that if our M misses and doesn't make contact, we will get the level 3 instead. Because now we are on the ground instead of canceling in the air, and we've turned around. So even though we don't have a quarter circle forward super in the air, we do have a quarter circle back super on the ground. Same kind of idea. It's nifty. I'm probably never going to do it to another human being in a match. If I do, I'll probably put it on Twitter. So I basically just took this whole video as an opportunity to explain how certain types of option selects can work. And I hope this is useful to you. Even if it isn't, I hope you found it interesting. Like I said, most fighting games have this in it at some point. I basically just want to say that most games do have this sort of principle in them hidden somewhere. Some character in most games, usually many characters, have these kind of option selects available to them, but they're usually not all very practical. And if they are super practical, you probably heard about them on Twitter or on YouTube or something like that. but they're nifty. I hope you learned something. I hope this at least gave you some ideas. If you play a character that has a quarter circle option available or some kind of directional input that only works one direction, and there's no attack available to them that uses the opposite input, then you might be able to find something interesting with them. And if you do, or if you know anything, please share it below. I'd love to see what you guys can come up with, or if this at least got you guys interested in something new. Well, I'm burning alive in my room because it's way too hot in Arizona and my air conditioner can't keep up. So I'm going to cut it here, stop recording. If you want to keep learning Dragon Ball with me, I highly recommend heading over to my stream over on Twitch. I've been trying to be more consistent over there lately. So hopefully we can learn more over there. And even if you don't have any questions or anything that you want answered, you can at least see me learn new characters probably every week or two and kind of get a feel for what that process is like. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe to the channel or follow me over on Twitter so you can know whenever anything gets uploaded or if I go live. I'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching.